Hello, awesome people. I hope you're having a great day today. Today we're taking a look at the novel that's in this collection, Sailing to Utopia, that was published by Michael Moorcock, called The Black Corridor. It's not in the fantasy genre, which is what he's probably well known for today. It's actually in the science fiction genre. It was published decades ago. It's in the British New Wave genre, which plays with the form of science fiction and writing, and that sort of thing. That was pretty common. He actually was an editor for a magazine during the 60s. They got some public funding that did a lot of British New Wave stuff, and so he's a big name in that genre. And he actually got some negative publicity because there was some public funding that went to that during the 60s in the UK. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, so we're going to be taking a look at this novel, which I've never read before, called The Black Corridor. It's about 150 pages. I read it over the last 3 days. I'll link you to it in the comments below. It took me about less than an hour and a half each day for 50 pages each day. So it took me probably about 4 hours total or less for me to knock it out. You could easily do it in just one day or a couple of days if you did 2 hours each day, right? If you took that and set it aside. So it's a lot of fun. It's very, very dark. It's very, very adult. It's very, very mature. It's got like curse words and sex, stuff like that, right? And then things, drugs and stuff like that too. So it's not. It's definitely for adults. It's not for kids, or like. But so it's pretty dark. So what's happening in this story? Let's do my review. As again, I keep my reviews spoiler free, so I'm only going to give you the first couple of chapters of this novel. But basically what's happening is that our key character, Ryan, is the captain in charge of a expedition from Earth to a planet called Munich that they are heading to colonize. So we're going to have him and his receipts of what's happening and so forth. And the first chapter we're having to talk about him checking in on the other passengers that are in the crew that are going with him that are all in hibernation pods. So you'll take a look at those hibernation pods and see what's happening, right? And then he'll give a couple of comments in a book that he'll write in, so you read his comments as you're taking a look at it. And then the second chapter will flash back to him just marrying his wife, who's going to be one of the people that's on the crew with him. And then what's happening after their marriage. In the UK, and in England specifically, you'll find out more and more about that in that second chapter about their marriage and what their society looks like and so forth. It's pretty dark and pretty grim. And then you have, and it begins to feel like a dystopian society and so forth. And over time, this novel will feel more and more dystopian, right? For example, in the second chapter, you're going to find out that in 1978, a couple of decades ago, an act was passed that prevents loud noise. And you can turn in cops and they'll get jail time and stuff like that. And lots of fines for having loud noise. So at any time of the day. So you'll find out these sorts of things just in the second chapter that begin to show what this looks like, what this future world looks like, and so forth. So Ryan is our POV character, and his family and his friends and so forth that are on this journey. For you folks, you'll find out all about them and their bios early on, and so forth. So there you are. Again, this is very experimental. It plays with the form. It's got like entire pages that are dedicated to just comments and conversations and weird things and so forth that are playing with the genre and the form of science fiction and fiction, both specifically. So I think you might enjoy it if that's your take. I thought it was too long. There's a lot more descriptions and reading what he's writing in the books and in the journals and his personal journal too. So that's really long, so I didn't feel it for that reason, and also I felt like its experiments felt a little undersold to me. You might only have 2 or 3 every 50 pages, right, of the experimental aspects of it too. So which I was kind of expecting a little more, since he's sort of the father and the editor of that movement in the UK. So I was a little disappointed that it wasn't as much as I was hoping it would be from this novel either. So I'm only going to be giving this a 6.5 out of 10. But if you've read it and like it more, just let me know. I'll be fine with that. I'm not going to be losing any sleep. So read, let me know. Again, I'll link you to it in the comments below for this novel, The Black Corridor by Michael Moorcock. Again, he was a big name in the 60s and 70s. The key conversations that we're having about this channel and doing older works is because the name of this channel, The Worst Thing About New Books, is a quote by a French philosopher who said that Jacques Joubert said that the worst thing about new books was that they kept us from reading the old ones. And so a novel that's decades ago, it's published before I was born in 76, is definitely a key part of this conversation, right? And where I get the passion of my channel from, because we've oftentimes forgotten these sorts of things. Michael Moorcock is generally probably more well known today for his fantasy stuff in the 60s and 70s. He created the multiverse. He created the Eternal Champion, the multiverse concepts, how multiverse will struggle with it. But there's this constant struggle between law versus chaos, and their key concept in that fight is the Eternal Champion, who fights for the side of law against the darkness of chaos. And that's the central sort of conflict. Now, this is in the Eternal Champion series. And so I'll link it to you, but it doesn't really feel like an Eternal Champion. The main character's not a nice guy. He's a dark person who does a lot of dark things. So I don't feel like this is an Eternal Champion, but even if it's in the collection for you folks. So I'll link you to it, since I already linked it to you for the book that I just read previously. There's another book in this. We might or might not do it. I'm not sure. So we'll just see what mood I'm into, but I hope to. But we'll see what winds up happening with this and so forth. But it's hugely influential. With the Eternal Champion stuff, particularly the character of Elric of Anonymity, a non-human person who's born with a heart of gold and pangs of conscience from an evil race of humanoid but non-human evil elven sort of people like dark elves that Dritz the Orc copied from later on. So he's also huge, and again, the law versus chaos central conflict is a key aspect of the later things that came along, like Roger Zelazny's Chronicles of Amber has a law versus chaos central conflict, and that was also a big hit too. So there you are. Also, in the initial Dungeons & Dragons game, the first role-playing game of all time, it was also a fantasy game based on a lot of these things and concepts, and its central conflict alignment was law versus chaos, and then neutral people in the middle too. So this is something that has defined that. Also, in a 1979 Dungeon Master's Guide, in Appendix N, this is listed by the co-creator of Dungeons & Dragons, Kerry Gygax, who says that this is one of the most influential places that he got his ideas from. It's a key list of influences. So that's definitely a key place to go to, Michael Moorcock. And a lot of people probably today don't know that he actually was a big name in the science fiction genre, too, at the same time as he was a big name in the fantasy genre. So there you go. I'll go ahead and leave you to it. Have you read this? If so, what do you think about it? Let's talk about it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, why not hit that subscribe button, because there could be a lot more to follow. And then finally, I want to thank you so much for taking some time out of your day and investing and watching my video, because we all have so many things that are happening in our lives, and we're pulled in so many different directions. So the fact that you spent this time with me is incredibly humbling, and I appreciate it. So thanks again, and have a great day.